What's up, everyone? I've been on a chess rampage lately, and I won 26 out of my last 30 chess games, but I finally met my match in chess. And this game was probably one of the hardest I've ever played, and I kind of cracked under the pressure, so let's begin. So my opponent started out with e4 opening. I anticipated that he was playing Italian, so I had a few options. I could have played the French, which would have been moved my pawn to e6, or I could have tried some other things. Like I could have moved pawns, the c pawn up, or maybe the g pawn to kind of confuse him. But what I did is what I normally do in this position was move the d or the pawn to d5. This move may not be the best since if he would have taken in this situation, my queen would have had to come out, of course. Then he could have played this. And then if you haven't seen my video where I blundered my queen on move 5, now this, it's really dangerous to bring out your queen early, and my opponent would be able to, easily develop. So luckily he didn't take it though, and he actually moved his own queen pawn out. And this is where I start to actually get the advantage. I managed to take, and whenever I see a free pawn, if it's not a queen's or king's gambit, I will take it. So I took here. My opponent moved his pawn out, and I did a gambit here. I was hoping he would take, then I would, trade, because then forcing my opponent's king to move over, and also exposing the f2 pawn and stopping my opponent from being able to castle. I could also move up my pawn to e6, allowing my bishop to threaten the c5 pawn. So there was a lot of things I could have done if he had taken here, but he made a very smart move and brought out his bishop. I don't really know what the point of that was. His knight here is kind of blocked, so he wasn't trying to attack this square right here. So I think he just wanted to do something, like maybe develop, or as you can see later in the video, he actually did castle on the queen side. So then I took. Might not have been the best decision. I should have probably left it there a little bit. Been a little bit more patient. Maybe move my pawn to e6. But this is where I start to go down a little bit. Then he went here. He took with the pawn, and now he's got a pawn in the middle. I then moved out my queen. The target would be the unprotected b2 pawn. I also wanted to still have a little bit of pressure on the d4 pawn, but I wasn't really going for this pawn, and my opponent blocked it by just moving the pawn up one square. And then now I was seeing like this perfect line, this right here. I mean, this would be perfect. It would be an easy way to get a castle, go up in this game, and I actually thought I was invincible. I mean, I just won 26 out of my last 30. And so I just brought out the knight to begin attacking this pawn. My opponent brought out his knight. I guess he didn't like, he saw what I saw, and he didn't really want this out here. I then took my chance with the queen. Of course, he traded, and I was thinking in this situation, if I took, which I did, I would have this line here. I would be protecting my pawn. I would also be threatening the very weak f2 square. So there's a lot of things, and even and if I took here, my opponent can't take after all. But also, if my opponent did take, which he did, then I could bring out my knight, and I'll show you what I was gonna do. So I was thinking, once I bring out my knight, it automatically gives me a chance to fork him. And he had brought out his knight, and so his light square bishop couldn't come out to defend that pawn, or else I obviously would have taken it. So his only option is to move the king or castle, and he actually castled. And I was kind of glad I forced him to do this. I mean, he's totally exposed. His pawn, like these are his defenses on this side, and his entire left side is underdeveloped. I mean, so is mine, but and I felt like I could win this game. I really thought I had a chance now, but I missed the part where when he castled, it pressured the knight, and I didn't see that since I really my biggest weakness is when they make moves that don't seem intentional. Like the castle, I thought it was there for a different reason. I was more focused on going for the unprotected f2 square and getting the castle. But this is where I blundered. He's now up by 1. I decided to bring out my dark square bishop. We trade here, and now I'm down 2. I also set up for that. I did a few trades, allowing me to castle. I thought that I'm only down by 2 pawns, and I could come back from this. My opponent brings out his bishop, and I start advancing. I apply some pressure, and we start to get into we start to get close. Actually getting progress, and this is where it gets very interesting. I was thinking I'm gonna pin him here. I might be able to bring in the light square bishop to apply pressure to the knight as well, and then his castle out here won't really be able to do anything. So I did it, and then he just brought out his castle, and now this is not good. I saw that this could turn into a check really easily. I also saw then that he could then do this. As you can see here, so I brought out my bishop. I didn't want to do this. I think the best option would have been to move my rook to e8, but I just wasn't really thinking of that option right now. I was thinking of how to stack up my pieces to like how to beat them. And this, I wasn't thinking of just leaving. And then so I brought it out. The check which I anticipated came, so I knew it was coming, but I just didn't do a good job of stopping it. I now go down a lot. I think he made a mistake here. He allowed me to get the knight. He really didn't have to let that happen. Here, he could have done this. I mean, I'd have to stay here, and it also would have been good. No. Now I'm down 4, and this pawn right here is gonna probably end me. I was thinking, and I was speeding towards the other side as quickly as I could, but there's no way I'm gonna make it there. Now I'm just desperately trying to squeeze a pawn in, and then I made the fatal mistake of coming back here. I was thinking maybe I could protect my pawn. I was like placing everything on this pawn. I was trying to protect it as much as possible because I knew if this pawn died, it would be over for me. So I didn't go here because I was thinking that he would just come here, take the pawn, and I kind of thought I knew it was over anyways, but I thought the pawn is my last chance. Of course, I got checkmated there, and that was the end of the game. So my ELO didn't drop too badly. I'm still at 1035, but I'm trying to get to 1500 by the end of the year. So this was definitely a setback, but I played a decent game, but it probably wasn't the best. But I mean, it wasn't terrible. So